Episode 132. Han Li took one look at the scene and immediately understood the other man's thoughts. After a moment's hesitation, he pulled out the thick volume of the Azure Essence sword art that Li Huiwen had sent over and placed it in front of the ugly man. This one, you see, bears Master Li's personal signature.
I didn't expect this ugly fellow to not only know Master Li's name, but even recognize his handwriting.
He took the book, glanced at it, and then respectfully handed it back to Han Li, his face immediately breaking into a smile.
So, junior brother, are you planning to refine qi or perhaps concoct some pills? I'll make sure you get the best spot.
Han Li had been hoping to leverage his connection to Patriarch Li to see if he could get some special treatment regarding the Earthfire. Seeing the other party take the initiative to say what he wanted, his expression softened.
I intend to refine some pills, so I would appreciate it if you could arrange a room with a stable and gentle Earthfire.
Han Li had already asked the old man about the general setup of the Earthfire area before coming, knowing that people were assigned to use the Earthfire by room. That's why he'd made this request.
Ah, that's easy to arrange. I'll get you set up right away, junior brother. It's just the processing fee.
Han Li gave a slight smile, then reached out and handed the ugly man a mid-grade spirit stone.
I will, of course, pay the standard amount of spirit stones. Since this alchemy session will take a while, this mid-grade spirit stone is the deposit. We'll settle the difference later, more or less.
Good. I'll make the arrangements for you right away, junior brother.
The ugly man was absolutely delighted to see Han Li had handed over a mid-grade spirit stone. After all, while the exchange rate of 100 low-grade spirit stones for one mid-grade spirit stone is universally accepted in the cultivation world, the number of people actually willing to trade a mid-grade stone for a pile of low-grade ones is vanishingly small. After all, everyone knows that under the same conditions, a mid-grade spirit stone absorbs spiritual qi far faster than a low-grade one. For that reason alone, everyone wants to hold on to mid-grade spirit stones, and naturally looks down on the low-grade ones. The same principle applies to high-grade spirit stones versus mid-grade ones. The ugly man's face lit up with a grin as he accepted the fire attribute spirit stone, and his attitude toward Han Li became even more obsequious. He immediately led Han Li to the massive 5-colored stone door, pulled a purple arrowhead-shaped token from his robe, and gave it a shake toward the door. A red light flashed from the purple token, shooting out a streak of radiant light that struck the door with perfect accuracy. Instantly, the 5-colored light began to swirl rapidly. With a series of loud, grinding groans, the stone gate slowly rose, revealing a black passageway behind it. The passage was about 10 feet high and perfectly square.
Junior brother, once we're past this Blackstone passage, we'll reach the room with the Earthfire. Let's head in now. This Blackstone isn't exactly rare, but it's no ordinary mortal material either. To find so much of it and use it as bricks to build this passage and the rooms, that was the work of several great, powerful patriarchs from generations past, who went to great lengths to make it happen. But it's precisely because of the Blackstone's strange property of resisting high heat and not melting in the Earthfire that this Earthfire zone has never had a major accident since it was opened.
Han Li was fascinated by the ugly man's words. He couldn't help but reach out and run his hand over the black stone wall beside him. It was slick and ice cold.
Where does this black ironstone even come from? It can resist the Earthfire, which is even fiercer than true fire. That's truly remarkable.
Well, from what I've heard, it's not exactly a rare material, but our U country doesn't produce it. Our ancestors had to bring it in from the far western lands of other nations. Quite a hassle, really.
And so, following the ugly man, Han Li passed through 2 more massive stone doors and soon left the obsidian passageway behind, emerging into a vast circular hall. The hall was also built from black stone, but with a diameter of 45 zhang and a height of over 10 zhang. Its sheer scale was truly staggering. Around the perimeter of the hall, Identical white stone doors were evenly spaced, numbering over 30 in total. The main hall was empty, save for the ugly man from the wealth path and Han Li. Han Li looked around with interest.
Well, this hall sits right on top of the most concentrated area of earth fire. The sect has opened up 36 chambers here for forging and alchemy, and the best ones for pill refining are numbers 18 and 19. But number 18 is already taken by a senior uncle, so you'll have to use number 19, junior brother. It's not quite as good as number 18, but its heat output and stability are still top-notch.
The ugly man spoke as he led Han Li to a door painted with the golden characters 19. Han Li said nothing, giving a silent nod of agreement. Seeing this, the ugly man immediately produced a white jade token and pressed it against the door, which then swung open automatically. The room was a square structure of average size, measuring only about 70 or 80 feet across. But in the center of the room was a circular dais about 10 feet wide, and on each of the 4 walls hung a gourd the size of a fist. In a corner not far away, there was also a green meditation cushion. The circular dais was also made of jade, quite flat and only about half a foot high. But on the outer rim of the cushion, 8 fiery red miniature dragon heads were inlaid, each one lifelike. Their muzzles were slightly raised, aimed precisely at the space above the cushion's center in a spitting posture, incredibly realistic. After taking in the room's layout, Han Li felt a flicker of surprise. But before he could voice a question, the ugly man had already moved near the stone dais and began explaining.
Junior brother, this is the earth fire vent for this room. The earth fire needed for alchemy is expelled from these 8 dragon heads, and you can adjust the flame's size and height as needed. The specific method for controlling it is carved on the outer wall of the stone pedestal.
The ugly man then pointed to 4 gourds hanging on the wall.
These gourds are filled with fire crystal sand. They can temporarily boost the power of the earth fire. If you feel the temperature of the earth fire is still insufficient, junior brother, you can use this to temporarily boost its power, though the effect won't last long. Also, please keep this jade token safe yourself. Once the door is sealed, it cuts off all contact with the outside. Unless several core formation cultivators join forces, no one can get in from out there. So you can rest easy, junior brother. No one will disturb us.
Han Li was inwardly delighted to hear this. This completely sealed-off environment was exactly what he needed. The ugly man finished his explanation and, knowing his place, took his leave. Han Li watched the ugly man leave the room, then immediately activated the jade token to seal the stone door shut once more. Then he walked eagerly over to the round dais, circled it a few times, and began to examine the 8 dragon heads in their spouting poses with meticulous care.
For this foundation establishment pill refinement, I spent the last few years deliberately studying alchemy, so I'm not exactly a stranger to the art. The success of pill refinement hinges on 2 things: controlling the flame's intensity and timing the furnace opening to retrieve the pill. As for the ingredients and their precise quantities, those have been refined by our predecessors over countless attempts and are clearly detailed in the formula. Of course, it's perfectly acceptable to adjust the batch size, to increase or decrease the number of pills produced in a single refinement. You simply need to increase or decrease the raw materials in the same fixed proportion.
But saying it is simple, doing it is 1,000 times harder. Just those 2 major hurdles, precisely controlling the furnace's heat and nailing the opening time, have stumped countless so-called alchemy masters. Even the most celebrated alchemy masters of our time would have to admit that if they were to personally attempt it, their chances of success wouldn't be much higher, only about 50-50. And that's for the pills they're most skilled at making. So, you can imagine how much harder it is for your average alchemist. So, whether a pill is successfully refined depends entirely on the alchemist's experience. So, alchemists and talisman masters are the 2 most expensive professions in the cultivation world, and naturally, the 2 most sought after. So Han Li was well aware that for a rookie like him, expecting to concoct a Foundation establishment pill on the first try was pure fantasy. So, from the very start, he planned to refine the Foundation establishment pills one at a time. That way, no matter how many times he failed at the start, he wouldn't feel too heartbroken over the wasted spirit herbs. And the amount of spirit herbs he had prepared was more than enough for over 100 attempts. With that much raw material, he had more than enough to learn from his mistakes. With his plan set, Han Li quickly memorized the dragon head's activation method. He then formed a hand seal and sent 8 streaks of red light flying toward it. The dragon head absorbed the crimson energy, its mouth parting slightly to release slender, chopstick-thick tongues of purple flame. The room instantly became unbearably hot, startling Han Li. Finally, Han Li experimented with adjusting the flame's thickness and the height of the dragon head's jet, mastering these fine controls. Only then did he extinguish the earth fire within the dragon head. He then walked over to the meditation cushion, sat down cross-legged, and began to rest and gather his energy. Han Li sat like that for the better part of a day. Only when he felt his spirit and stamina were at their absolute peak did he finally prepare to begin the alchemy process. Fortunately, Han Li's cultivation had already passed the 10th layer, granting him the ability to abstain from food, so he had no need to eat. Han Li first pulled the silver thread cauldron he'd bought that day from his storage pouch. He cast a levitation spell on it, causing it to hang suspended in the air directly above the stone pedestal.
Then he shot another red light at the dragon head, igniting the purple earth fire within.
Since no ingredients had been placed inside the cauldron yet, Han Li kept the earth fire extremely fine, no thicker than a thread. Then, he had the silver thread cauldron begin to rotate slowly in mid-air, preheated by the 8 threads of flame. After a quarter of an hour, the silver thread cauldron was thoroughly heated, radiating an intense, scorching heat. Seeing this, Han Li pointed a finger at the small cauldron. Its lid immediately flew off, revealing the opening. He then flipped his right hand, and a white jade vial appeared in his palm. It contained the prepared spiritual medicine powder, measured out in precise quantities. Han Li controlled the pouring of the entire bottle's contents into the cauldron, then immediately tossed the empty vessel aside. He retrieved another bottle from his storage pouch and continued repeating the same action. And so, Han Li poured all the required dozens of medicinal powders into the silver-threaded cauldron, finally closing the lid once more.
The first step is finally complete. It seems to have gone perfectly, without a single error.
Under Han Li's control, the purple flames from the 8 dragon heads thickened from slender streams to the width of a finger. Meanwhile, the rotation of the silver thread cauldron gradually slowed, and the vessel began to tremble faintly within the flames. As time passed, a faint medicinal fragrance began to emanate from the small cauldron, refreshing the senses.
It's going smoothly enough for now, but we're still a long way from forming the pill. At the very least, we'll need a more intense earth fire for an instantaneous condensation. Only then can a pill possibly form.
With this in mind, the violet flame under Han Li's control grew even more dazzling, swelling to the thickness of a bowl and enveloping the entire silver thread cauldron. From a distance, the small cauldron had become a massive ball of fire, and the scent of the medicine grew even richer.
The powder is starting to coalesce into a pill. I need to be even more careful.
But right then, a muffled pop came from the cauldron. The sound wasn't loud, but it made Han Li's heart sink, his expression turning grim. After a moment's hesitation, Han Li sighed, cut off the earth fire, and with a wave of his hand lifted the lid of the still scalding cauldron to peer inside. Inside the cauldron lay several pieces of shattered pale blue solid, the failed pills, their condensation incomplete.